Hello guys, in this video we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is the child marriages in India. So see, this is not just a social custom related problem. It's a human right violation, it's a development failure, development issue, and the governance challenge, governance issues also involved in this. And the most important part of this is India has made global commitment to eliminate the child marriage by 2030. So this is directly linked with India's credibility, sustainable development goals, and inclusive development also. So I'm taking this from editorial of 26th of December, and that's the reason why I'm discussing this topic. So the legal definition, if you see, as per the legal definition, if a girl marries before 18, it is a child marriage. And if a boy marries before 21, it is a child marriage. So this is the technical legal definition. So again, if you look at India's global commitment, the sustainable development goal related. So under the UN sustainable development goals, the goal 5 is about gender equality. So the target 5.3 in that goal 5, target 5.3 specifically says by 2030, you have to eliminate the harmful practices like child marriage, early marriage, forced marriage, etc. So India also promised to achieve this, and the government recently also celebrated the first anniversary of Bal Vivah Mukt Bharat Abhiyan and launched a 100-day awareness campaign on the same. So again, if you look at that editorial that I'm referring to, that point out slogans and campaigns are good. Intention may be clean, but slogans alone won't end the child marriage. So you have to do something more than these campaigns and the slogans, right? Okay, now see, if you look at the history, the problem is old, but still it is alive, right? So the child marriage was targeted even in British India also. 1929, the Sharda Act, they tried to stop child marriage. But even after the British left, the practice is still continuing. That's what I mean by the problem is old and it's still alive. So yes, the law exists since decades, but still the social reality remain stubborn. So there are something to do with the culture also. So we'll also get into that. Now, again, the data, if you look at, right, still a crisis you can see in absolute numbers. NFHS data, see, you can see some improvement. NFHS 3, 2005, 6, if you see, is 47.4% marriages were child marriage. But that has been reduced to 23.3% in 2019-21. So 23.3% of the marriages are child marriages. But still, see, many people say that it's a huge success from 47 to 23, it's half. But again, if you look into the editorial to give you that perspective, don't just fall into the trap of percentage, because you see, India's population is 146 crore. And if 23% of the marriage still remain child marriage, then can you think that in absolute terms, absolute numbers, it means lakhs and crores of girls are still married before 18. So the percentage actually fell. Of course, it is good, but absolute scale, absolute number, if you see, that still remain massive. Again, we look at the regional reality also. See, when you simply see national average, that hides the fire. India, in fact, is like a continent, diverse, uneven, huge population, different types of people, right? So some states have alarming rates. West Bengal, Bihar, Tripura, they are the highest. And there are some states which are concerning like Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, Assam. So the national average, if you look at it, that give you a false sense of security. But if you look at the regional pockets, they are still in crisis, so that also need to be taken into consideration. What is the real cause behind this? The unholy trinity. So again, if you look at the editorial, it's actually rejecting the lazy explanation like customs, culture, traditions, and all those. So the editorial argue that it says the real villains are deeper. So according to the analysis highlighted in the editorial, the main reason from a trinity. The trinity is poverty, education, patriarchy, the cultural norms. So poverty, the poorest household, 40% girls married before 18. That is related to poverty. And in the richest household, if you see, only 8%. So 40% before 18 in poorest, richest just 8%. So poverty basically turns the girl into a burden in some of the households, and parents think early marriage reduce, one mouth to feed. So that's the one of the reason. Second, education. Again, if you look at the data, those with no schooling, the child marriage rate is 48%. Those with higher education, the child marriage rate is only 4%. So education is not only a degree, it gives decision making power. And yes, Mandela's idea that fits perfectly here, right? Education changes lives. So the point is, you can see the drastic difference. No schooling, 48%, and with higher education, it's 4%. So education make a massive difference, right? Education changes lives. Third reason in the Trinity, that is the patriarchy, the cultural norms. So the fear-based thinking that still exists. If we don't marry her early, she may go wrong, right? Family's honor will be lost, the clans, the community's honor will be lost, or the caste honor will be lost. So such kind of thoughts and cultural practices are still there. So child marriage is again, often a controlled mechanism, you can say. Let's look at the West Bengal paradox. Why the cash incentives alone failing? See, West Bengal has a scheme, right? Kanya Shri Prakalpa. I don't know exact pronunciation, maybe it's correct. Kanya Shri Prakalpa. It gives cash incentive if the girl completes education and does not marry early. But is that sufficient? Still, child marriage, if you see, it's very high. Why? Because see, money does not automatically change the mindset. Mindset shift, if it have to happen, it takes some time, right? So even if education is there, still mindset change is difficult, but education, fastens that. So some families, they use the cash not for education, but they use the cash for dowry. So this has become a classic policy practice gap, right? So what is the policy? It is there and you give the money and everything. The practice is entirely different. So without breaking this patriarchy and the norms and the traditions and the culture, this cash transfers, that becomes only band-aids. And the mindset is what you need to change, and that may take some more time. Again, there is a question of law versus reality. PCMA 2006 and law convictions. See, the law, in fact, this one, PCMA, I'm talking about Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, but its implementation is very weak. And if you look at the NCRB data, uh, uh, the point mentioned as convictions under this act is very low, right? So child marriage have happened. Now, how and whom you will be convicting, right? So often the reporters are family members and they do not want parents to go to jail. So the case automatically collapses when it comes to the trial. So the conviction rate is very less. Because of that itself, the law is not having any power. Okay. Now again, POXO versus child marriage. That's again a difficult legal clash. So POXO, the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, it's very strict. Under 18, consent have no value. So even if 16, 17-year-old run away and marry, or the 16, 17 girl in a relationship, and the boy may still face a rape case under POXO. So that creates dangerous unintended consequence. Normally people avoid hospitals and registered doctors because they fear the police action. So see, if an underage girl become pregnant, she may avoid a proper doctor and go for a go to a illegal person, or quack for abortion. So and thereby she's actually risking her life, and that chance of risking her life is also getting increased. So the intention is protection, but fear pushes people out of healthcare, and that's again becoming the issue here. So POXO, with that also there is issue, and PCMA is also not working out, right? And again, why we are giving importance to ending child marriage as something which is more important in sustainable development goal. Again, editorial, that's the strongest point in this editorial. So if India fails to eliminate child marriage by 2030, it will struggle to achieve many of the sustainable development goals, because child marriage is connected with many things, right? As I told you, poverty, hunger, health, education, gender equality, and the health impact is direct. So early motherhood means what? It can directly increase the maternal mortality, the mother's health, and the infant mortality, the infant's health also. So these all are again part of sustainable development goals. So if you're not addressing, if you're not meeting this one, right, then it will affect the others also. So what's the way forward? What is practical, or the governance based approach? See, law alone is not enough. Cash alone is not enough. You have to reach the vulnerable communities like the Dalits, like the tribals, and you need to reduce the school dropouts. Maybe schools are too far, so you need to bring in more infrastructure. You again, otherwise, a lack of safe transport could be the problem. So arrange that. Lack of clean toilets, right? These are issues That's the reason why dropouts are high. So you need to improve the infrastructure so that, you know, keep the girls in the school. That is very important. As I've told you, those with education, 4% in the child marriage. Also, you can loan from West Bengal, not just cash, give skills and jobs. That's again very important. Make girls economically independent. So if she's independent, then this will come down. So the final line is child marriage is not a private family matter. It's a human right issue. And after 80 years of independence, discussing how to stop child marriage is itself as a warning sign. So that's about this session. Thank you so much. I see you in the next video. If you're looking for any mentorship or classes or test series or anything, get in touch with us. See you there.